I'm at 649 Muriel Drive in Dayton, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, and anything that may be of concern to the buyer. The access here is in the basement, left side basement bathroom. Behind the door there is a cutout in the wall and some paneling, and there is a PVC clean out. There's also a stack over in the unfinished side underneath basically the kitchen. It is a copper stack, but I believe this is the furthest upstream, so we're going to go from here first, and if we need to make a move, we will. And so, looking for any structural issues. Yeah, looks like we have some cast iron, and it goes straight over and makes another turn right off the side of this. So, looks like we have cast iron under the basement floor. And with cast iron, you're just kind of looking for functionality and making sure there's no visible holes or breaks in the pipe. Cast iron does always look ugly and kind of wears a channel in the bottom because it does rust. And so you never really know how much time is left really with the cast iron, because you can't tell how thin or thick the walls are. See how it wears. There's like tie-ins and stuff, and so we can see underneath the water there. But you have build up of material and stuff like that that also tends to happen here with cast iron. So it doesn't look pretty, but it can function fine. Another big thing about cast iron is that it has a higher tendency to have soft clogs in it, meaning toilet paper and wet wipes. It's one thing, you never want to use wet wipes in these things because they can easily catch on the side of the pipe and cause backups. That camera lens is only about ½ an inch off the bottom of the pipe, so that's not much water. It's just enough to barely cover the lens, but that's not a major issue. I expect that when we exit the house, we should switch into clay. And here we go. And right when it makes that change to clay, we have some root intrusion here. It's not really, it's pretty common to see, especially on that connection. A lot of times you're going from like a 3 to a 4 or a 4 to a 6, where the cast iron switches over to clay and the pipe size increases. And so you have a little bit of a gap, and there tends to be root intrusion right there. So as you can see, there's a little bit right there. It's not quite in the flow line yet, but it is something that could be a concern very soon. And so I would recommend cleaning to get rid of this section of roots, to try to start from scratch. I'm not really sure where there's a larger clean out, because if done correctly, this can be taken care of you only need to do this every 3 or 4 years, and if you use a product like Root-X in between, it will kill the roots in between, and you shouldn't have to worry about it if you do it about once a year. But in this case, it's starting to get down into the flow line, so should probably have that taken care of relatively soon. But root intrusion like this is common, and that was starting, let me get a measurement here, because I have a feeling I'm going to run into a few spots. But we're starting at about 47 feet where we exited the house. And then there's another section where it is getting in at the connections. There's another pretty heavy amount of roots. So it's definitely going to need a cleaning and some regular maintenance. There's a lot of root intrusion here. So you can see just barely having the flow line open, and you can see when I pushed through it, it actually released some of the water. So it is common to find roots in here. It's probably pretty soon. Good thing that you had this done. Pretty soon there would have been a backup in the line based off of all this root intrusion. I mean, it's covering. Hopefully, I can make it all the way out. Okay, I think I've just made it into the main. That's why you see all that running by. So I'm going to run some water here in this downstairs bathroom to try to clear off that lens. And then we'll pull back and hopefully get a little bit better inspection on the way back. But looks like from about 47 feet all the way out to this 78-foot mark, out to the main, there was root intrusion at about every joint. So that will have to be cleaned and maintenance in the future. But again, we're going to run some water now and let it flow down to the camera so that we have a little bit better view of this. As we pull back and try to rinse off that lens. It will take a minute for the water to get down to it. Yep, we're hanging down into the main there. You want to try to get the stuff off the front of the camera, but it's not working too well. So 6 feet here. Doesn't want to rinse off. You see I'm diving here at about a 17-degree pitch. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, I'm going to pull back a little bit. Just can't seem to get this thing clean. There we go. The minute we hit those roots again, we're getting stuff on the front of the camera. So you can see a good amount of roots. I think I've kind of poked a hole in it a little bit. So here we are diving down into the main. So we've got roots all the way out. So this really needs a good thorough cleaning. And it will need some periodic maintenance. Try to take a look at the way back. Structurally, the line looks like it's in good shape. Just all the roots are getting in at the joints, so this can be maintained rather easily. from 47 feet all the way out to the main. You can see that that's holding back some of the water there because it's growing all the way close, just a layer around where the connections are. So the line looks good structurally. Like I said, I don't see any major holes or anything or broken pipe. It's just these are all these roots are getting in at the connections between pipe sections. And this is pretty normal for this age and material pipe. Cast iron, we've got a pretty good look about that on the way out. Cast iron is functioning and flowing freely at time of inspection. But it is something also that you want to pay attention to, and just make sure you're not flushing anything you shouldn't be down the pipe. Haven't seen any major divots or holes or anything in the line, so it is functioning. Let's go ahead and shut the water off here since we're getting close to the end here. Get that to drain down a little bit. So, we've made it all the way back, and just to summarize here, the line looks good structurally. For about the first 47 feet you have cast iron, and it is in satisfactory condition. There's no holes or anything. It is flowing freely right now and functioning. Again, you just can never tell how much time is left on cast iron because it does rust, obviously. So there is, normally they say it's roughly a 75-year life expectancy on cast iron. And so with that, some of the older stuff sometimes lasts longer than the newer. The stuff, they usually put it in residential between the 40s and the late 60s, mid 70s even, in some cases. And so some of the newer stuff actually doesn't last as long as the older stuff. So, but it's, it is functioning, and but there's really no definitive lifespan on it. The clay outside is in good structural condition. That's from 47 feet to about 78 where we hit the sewer main, and that is all in good structural condition, but there is root intrusion at about every joint between 47 and 78 feet. This needs to be cleaned, and then from this point on I would probably use like a Root-X, a chemical treatment about once a year for maintenance, and then after 3 to 5 years I would have another scope done to see what kind of condition the line is in as far as how fast the roots are growing, and that should give you a better idea of maintenance timing and see what kind of schedule you want to keep with that. But The line is in good structural condition. I'm going to recommend a cleaning and regular maintenance from here out, say yearly treatments and follow-up inspection in a few years. So that'll end the inspection at 649 Murrell Drive in Dayton, Ohio.